I love nothing more than a woman that's proactively helping me. Hey, I noticed this. I wash your clothes. I folded them, put them here. It is a big deal. But I think what's most important, especially for a high achieving man, a high power man, just be his fucking peace, man.
What are you talking about? It's all about this narcissistic achievement that you are supposed to have and everybody else standing at your service, including your wife, providing peace as if that's the only thing that matters. That's what novels are made of, not real world relationships. Hey guys, I'm Dr. G. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been a psychologist and licensed psychologist for 11, almost 12 years. And for the most part of my career, I have focused on relationships, on couples and sex therapy. Today, I'm going to get into a little bit of a reflection on some viral videos that are out there. Unfortunately, I believe most of them are sending the wrong message. Some of them are pretty good. So stay with me. Let's take you on a journey on these reflections.
You want a masculine man that looks after you, absolutely. But men, their love language is acts of service. Whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, whether you want it or not. Their way of receiving love is you cooking for me, you ironing that shirt, you making my work has to stop when I come in the house, if you want a traditional man. If you want a CEO, the moment he wakes up, he's working. Brain is going da 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 da, and at the moment he leaves the house, it's da 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 da. So when he comes home, his job has to stop. Just like a feminine man would make him less attractive to me. If I came home and my man was just like painting his nails and doing his hair, am I going to want to sleep with him?
Yeah.
Same thing happens when you come home and your wife's on her phone the whole day and there's food, like no one's cooked anything. Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff.
That's interesting, but to be honest with you, I think that is a little bit too superficial, even though in the core it makes sense. But the problem with it is when we pigeonhole men and women into categorical, distinct entities and really forget about what matters most, which is the person. The depth of personality of the human being is different than their category. Generally, men like mostly certain things that women don't, and vice versa. There's some patterns, there are some tendencies. But if we are looking for a quick formula, then we miss the most important part, which is the person in front of you. That person is worth getting to know rather than the whole category. How men are in general, how women are in general. That matters less than how that person is specifically, how that person acts specifically, how that person feels specifically, which requires actual, great, real-world communication, deeper communication and discussion in order to actually connect with that person in front of you.
Women want men to be able to read the situation and understand it because that's what y'all do. All right? You guys are evaluating every little detail. You notice this. But here's what's funny. You rely more on your analyzation rather than actually what he said. So, for example, you could ask a man, what do you want for your birthday? And he could say, I just want to have a nice night with you at home, my favorite meal, that's it, right? And the woman thinks to herself, I'm going to throw him a surprise party. He's never had a surprise party yet. I know he's going to love that, right?
He told me he wanted this, but he doesn't really mean it.
Men have no problem being very clear, so you don't have to interpret as much when it comes to what we want.
And they'll flip it the other way. If the guy asks a woman and she's like, I just want a night at home, she gets home and it's just a night at home. So where's the party?
Exactly.
That's interesting. So I would kind of agree with the first part, which is the idea of not reading much more into it than what is actually happening. So in psychology, we use a word that is basically projection. And where we are projecting onto the other person what we believe, who they are or what they want. And that is much more than it is actually happening for the person. So I like that first part because certainly both men and women, I would say, we miss the point of really assessing the actual human being in front of us outside of the traits, categories, stereotypes. Most people, unfortunately, fall into those traits and categories and stereotypes. And in fact, they go and talk to their friends, family, confidant, even therapists, and trying to find how women are, how men are in general, instead of asking, this person, this whole person that I am dealing with, regardless of those stereotypes, and again, the categorical labels, this person is in this way. This person asks me about these certain things. How do I come to terms with these needs, wishes, expectations, wants? And not only asking others how to do so, but more importantly, actually asking that person and trusting what they say has a little bit of a very specific, deeper, unique meaning to it. Rather than, again, reading too much into it. That's what I would say. Second part, I would say I disagree a little bit in regards to, again, trying to make this about men versus women. Men do certain things this way, and then women do certain things another way. That is just missing the point.
I love nothing more than a woman that's proactively helping me. Hey, I noticed this. I wash your clothes. I folded them, put them here. It is a big deal. But I think what's most important, especially for a high achieving man, a high power man, just be his fucking peace, man. He's dealing with stress all day. He's taking major risks. Be the peace. Rub his back. Do you need anything? Just telling him how much you appreciate how hard he's working. And that's when it goes back to being the hero. That's what makes doing it so worth it.
So funny. Number one, the person who is putting the video together is not quite understanding what this guy means. As if you read the words, peace is spelled out P-I-E-C-E. It says being his peace. What? Being his gun? What he means is being his P-E-A-C-E. Being the peace in his life. That's a funny reaction I have to that. But going beyond that, boy, he misses the point in understanding true relationships. This is all about not toxic masculinity or femininity. I would say missing the point in regards to a relational identity. When a person gets into a relationship, they're committing to two people in that relationship. But this way, the guy is talking about is basically the woman is just an object. This is further objectification of a partner. I'm not talking about just a woman, but even if the speaker was a woman talking about, I'm doing all this and that, I just want my man to be by my side. That's objectification of that man, of that partner. So as if the other human being is a prop. What are you talking about? It's all about this narcissistic achievement that you are supposed to have, and everybody else standing at your service, including your wife, providing peace, as if that's the only thing that matters. A hardworking man trying to make the ends meet, and all the woman needs to do is just being the peace in his life. That's what novels are made of, not real world relationships. Real world relationships is about two people coming together, creating a new entity. It's not about just one of them. It's about both of them. So you have to make enough room for both of them to flourish, for both of them to achieve, to both of them to self-actualize. So it's not just falling on one person, one hero, and everybody else at that service of that hero. That's so unfortunate. That's all I can say.
If a woman needs love, a man needs respect. But it's almost easy for us to say, well, he can get my respect when he earns it. Wow. Can you imagine if your husband said, she can have my love when she earns it? Just as much as women need love, your husband needs respect. Not only was he created to be able to need this, to receive it, he was built that way. he's going to be drawn to the places where he actually does receive it.
That's right.
Whether it's his workplace, you know, some of us are like, why is he always out of the house? Why doesn't he like to be at home? Why does he always feel so grumpy or look so grumpy when he's at home? But then for some reason, when we're out with his friends or when he's at work, he's thriving there. You see so much joy in him. It's because he's receiving respect. He's going to find respect in the relationships where he receives it. And if that's the case, we've got to figure out a way to understand that there is a true need for a man to be able to receive respect.
That's good.
Okay, so this is another bad example, or a good example for what I call reductionism. Okay, so reducing the entirety of a person's needs to one thing. These are a lot of, kind of trend-setting fad type of proclamations by a lot of people who just want to come up with a quick formula to fix relationships, a quick formula to understand men, a quick formula to understand women, the quick formula for parenting. Because, again, it goes back to people are running around too fast, the fast-paced society, to just survive. And based on that, they're looking for quick formulas, which is not very helpful. In this case, it's reducing the entirety of the needs of the complexity of the person called man to all they need is respect. And a woman, all they need is love. And it's really setting people on the wrong track because it's giving a false promise. Just imagine somebody following this formula, like a woman, and say, well, okay, all I need to do is just give respect. That reductionism, unfortunately, pushes people toward a narrow-mindedness. All I need to do is respect, nothing else. Whereas when you deal with a complex human being, you actually have to be adaptive and flexible enough to do a lot of things, not just give respect. Many men want love equally as much as women want. So you've got to be able to be flexible and adaptive and recognize when your man needs respect, when your man needs love, when your man needs a shoulder to cry on, when your man needs somebody to support him and prop him up, when your man needs someone to maybe even just kind of encourage him when he's weak, when your man needs a pat on the shoulder and kind of give him an award when he has achieved something. It's not just about one word. That's the problem with reductionism and creating this kind of, viral video so they just catch on. It's about, in my opinion, I disagree with a lot of these, trend-setting single formulas because, again, they unfortunately set people on the wrong trajectory because they give a false promise, as if the entire complexity of a human being can be reduced to one thing.
You're a young couple and you're going through some things and you're like, man, we must be the worst couple in the world. We must be the worst. Man, we just ain't got it. Of course you ain't got it figured out. When you hit 30, you still ain't 30 years of marriage, you still ain't gonna have it all figured out. My wife and I are still trying to figure stuff out. And we just take it as it comes and we learn and we mature and we grow. And it takes time. But you'll not get there if you quit. You're not supposed to have it together.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's no question. And really just the only thing I would add to it is that not just being a couple, but anything in life. We are students of life. So contrary to popular belief, when we instill this type of a false dream in people that you ought to figure things out very quickly and get to a level of success that doesn't require any more work, very, very early and quickly, and then just relax after that and do nothing in your life. That is I would say a kind of a delusion that has been propagated by the very ingrained nature of, seeking comfort and wanting a quick fix to problems in life. It's aligned with every human being's need for permanent pleasure versus discomfort or pain. But reality is, rather than delusion, that everything in life, whether you're a young couple, whether you are new in a business, whether you're new in your career, you're growing as a family member and feel certain obligations in regards to your family and heritage and so forth. Whatever it is in your life, learning a skill, that you ought to look at yourself as an ever evolving student of everything that is happening. And really, like they say, the proverbial, enjoy the journey. Don't be so, too worried about the destination to get somewhere and then relax. It's not about getting somewhere and relaxing. It's about being in the moment and enjoying the growth. So rather than putting up with growing pains only, yes, that you ought to do anyways, but also learn how to enjoy the growing, evolving, and advancing. You ought to enjoy the entire transformation, including its joy and pain.
One night I come home and my wife said, Andy, we've learned to live without you. Like, me and the kids live without you. You're not here. First I get defensive and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, babe, look at the house. Look at where we live. Look at your car. Look at all this stuff. She goes, Andy, when you come home at the end of the day, you're exhausted. You're beat. You literally save zero special energy for your family. We get leftovers. You think coming in and, hey babe, love you, and then sitting on the couch and high-fiving the kids is the man we want? Are you serious? So what are we going to do? I can just remember, man, I felt like I'd been deceived, and I had been deceiving myself is what happened. I had lost my way. I realized I'd looked in the mirror, I'd become fat, was losing my edge. I didn't even recognize myself. I thought that the paycheck was the value I was as a man. And you know what I realized? Dude, I need to change, and I need to change now.
I completely agree with that. And another analogy is watching a movie. Just imagine you start the movie and then you for kind of skip the whole movie and then come back and end the ending or watch the ending. You would miss the entire movie, the entire suspense, the entire storyline, the entire, character setup and the ups and downs of the entire movie. This is really what it is about. If you're living with someone, this is about you as a man providing and being successful and building a legacy or a mansion and a total empire for your family, and you're not home, you're not around, you're not involved on a daily basis, well, your family is actually missing the entire movie. You're only seeing the beginning and end, and you are missing the entire movie of your family. You're seeing only the beginning a little bit and just the end piece of it. Do you want to do that? That is the real question. Or do you, like, when you enjoy a movie, you want to be involved, immersed in the entirety, the plot, how it develops, it goes up and down, the surprises, certain angles that didn't even, occur to you, and really be part of that roller coaster, be part of the whole, the trip, the journey, the travel. If you're working too hard, building an empire, not home, not spending time with your entire family, then you can't be part of them. You're not part of them, you're part of your work mostly. You're just part of your developing a huge, successful empire. And vice versa. They're not seeing the real you, the real person. They're not privy and involved in the ups and downs, in the struggles that you have, in the transformations that you have on a daily basis. They're kind of shielded from the essence of you actually building the whole thing. So without daily involvement, without being passengers, so to say, of that vehicle that you are driving, then the entire journey doesn't make sense. And it's not enjoyable in the end for yourself either. And in the end, after many, many years of having tried to become somebody that you always wish to be, you look back and you notice that you actually are more of a stranger to the very people that you love than a family member. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed these few clips, and if you enjoyed them and would like to receive more, then like them and subscribe them. We talk about a lot of things about life, quantum life, about deeper meanings of relationships, and how, most importantly, in my opinion, not to waste our time. Time is the most important, most valuable commodity in life. Let's learn how not to waste it and maximize what we have available to us.